So we're getting into a different competition now, Europe. Obviously, that's something that's always been, certainly the last couple of years, a good thing for the Ospreys.
Yeah, we're excited. We like this competition. Whether it's obviously the run in the Champions Cup that everyone knows about, of the yearly fixture of playing Montpellier. Whichever competition we're in. But obviously, that year was good, getting to the final knock-ins and making a good account of ourselves there. Gave us a lot of confidence. The run in the Challenge Cup, winning knockout rugby for the first time and enjoying that. We enjoy this competition, and realistically, it's a competition that we will definitely target because cup competitions, less fixtures, less vulnerability, but more excitement, and it's something that we take very seriously, and I know everyone's excited about that.
Because you mentioned in the past that maybe before last year the Ospreys were a bit of a cup team, weren't they? And last year it felt like you managed to find that balance of the long haul of the league season with the cup.
Yeah.
But clearly, with the personnel you've got in your squad, you are you can make a good fist of targeting a competition like this, can you?
Yeah, I still think that generally, cup competitions are more suited probably to the squad sizes that you have and the competition, and then it comes down to one-off shootouts. It's you give yourself a shot, and that's exciting. Look, our league form isn't what we'd like it to be for sure. Let's not gloss it over. But the good thing about a league form, about a league program, is you get time to get that back. And look, I know that we are very disappointed about last week, and we want to get some momentum in this block of games. And we had an opportunity, more than enough opportunities to do that last week. But our accuracy was horrible. We've had a lot of conversations around that and around finding a way and our way. We talked about it a lot last year. We need to find a way now to grab momentum in our season, and that starts with everyone taking responsibility for their own performance. And we've spoken a lot about the psychology around that. It's always challenging when you've got to change the team so consistently, and if you look at the age and maturity of some of the people in it, especially in key positions up front, which is a massive part of what the Ospreys do, it's very hard to replace that expertise. But the people that are given the opportunity will do the very best they can, and we'll support them doing that, and that's their chance to find a way and show an opportunity. So it all starts again this weekend. The great thing about our game is that we can get a chance to put it right the next week.
And that's the thing, you talk about trying to change that mentality and psychology. New competition, this can then act as a kickstarter, the league, can't it?
Yeah, it's just, it gives, change of focus, change is as good as a rest, as they say. From that point of view, it is that opportunity, and it's a competition that we've got some relative success in the last couple of, or momentum definitely, and that's what we need right now.
Because having rested some of the Wales players last weekend, that's probably at odds with what the other regions have done. They've, Cardiff played a lot of their Wales stars, and they'll probably rest them in this European block. That's clearly not what you're going for, is it? You're targeting this European blockers.
I mean, let's be clear about that. Yeah, of course. But in relation to the people that were rested last week, they were in no fit state to take the pitch. So it's not necessarily a competition driven. Even if you think I'm being strategic, our squad numbers mean we can be less strategic. But what we have got to do is put the player at the centre of it. It's all very well putting a player out there. They have a responsibility to perform well for their teammates and their team. If they're not able to do that, then what's the point in putting them out there? The other bit is we also need to protect them from ourselves. It's not for a want of not wanting to play, and these are, we're very lucky that we've got a group of international players that want to come back and contribute for the Ospreys. I'm not saying others don't, but I can only speak on what ours do. They are adamant they want to play, but when you see someone eye to eye and have a conversation with them, as the conversation continues, you work out, whether where they are physically and mentally, because it's not just one thing. And the boys that were rested out of protecting themselves from themselves. They wanted to play for the Ospreys for sure.
How How do you feel the squad is in terms of that? In terms of getting that balance of resting players and having people available. Where do you think the squad is at the minute at this stage of the season?
I don't think we get a chance to rest players too much. You get a chance. The one thing that every coach wants is enough players to prepare well and have pressure on selection to make people perform at their best. The hidden stuff around injuries or small squad sizes, depends how it manifests itself. For those two aspects, can be inconsistent. We've got to make sure we get that winning habit back, because we've got what we've got, and we'll take it. We'll take it into this competition that we love, and we'll try and seek the opportunity and find a way.
And then heading into this weekend, which players are unavailable to you?
What injury wise?
Injury wise, yeah.
Not too much different from last. The only additional injury one I think is Justin Tipperick, who's HIA from last week, had symptoms after the game, so obviously he won't make it. You've got to look after him in that respect. Everyone else is, I think, off the top of my head, is pretty much the muchness. We've just finished our training session now. We'll convene to see where everybody is. We had to see if a few people got through. And obviously then we have the Welsh boys coming back in that weren't available last week.
So you'll have Jack Morgan and Derry Lake back.
And Gareth Thomas.
I mean, almost goes without saying, but how big a thing is having those three back?
Massive. We've got three, not just three players. We've got three leaders there, three role models, three people that represent the Ospreys in their mentality as much as anything. You saw how well those boys played in difficult circumstances for Wales. Even the way they articulate themselves post game, etc. So to have that sort of level of player leadership and people that want to take responsibility is great. And those young players, or the people that haven't been out, or less experienced players, not always young, they look to those players for guidance and for consistency, and they affect not just their own performance but the performance of others. So yeah, it's absolutely massive for us, as to have three international forwards coming back into a pack, because as you know, the pack's been a very stable, fundamental part of what we build our game around.
Is James Ratty one of the unavailable players this weekend?
He's not available, yeah.
What's the situation there? He's
been injured. I don't know how far he is into his injury, but he sustained quite a bad injury. He's not going to figure in Europe in these first two rounds of Europe. Will Griff should be back around it in the next week. Rhys Davies should be back around it in the next couple of weeks. Rhys Henry as well. So we're starting to see the light, if you like, at the end of the tunnel for there. And then as probably the turn of the year, then James Ratty hopefully then comes in on top of that, and now we're starting to look like a more established set of forwards that we've that everyone recognises.
In that sense, I guess having someone like James Fender back last week, that was a big boost. Massive,
but everyone goes, it is, and a lot of eye-catching performances. You can't expect too much of young players. I mean, James Fender's played a dozen times for this team. That's it. And people forget that. Yes, he had a very good part of a season last year, and a lot of stuff was talking about him. And he's got a very high ceiling and a lot of potential, and we're really excited to have him back. But understand, he's only played a dozen games for the Ospreys. And that's where we just have to understand the whole picture. But he performed very well, got through 80 minutes. We were delighted to have him and performed at a very good level, which shows you that the rhetoric around his potential and where he is absolutely founded, because he is.
And then looking ahead to this weekend's opponents, what challenge are you expecting from the Lions?
Well, they're quite pragmatic in their own half. That being said, they're definitely going to have a look from counter-attack. If you kick loosely, they've really punished. They've got statistically, I think, the best counter-attack in the league. So if you kick poorly to them, they're going to punish you. They've got those sort of athletes, but they're also very good at recognising when things are on and not on. So they then will pressurise you through the aerial kicking game, like a lot of South African teams do. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot around the kick battle in relation to the decision making and the accuracy around that. Because that's how they establish field position. They either carry back off your loose kicks, or they'll squeeze you on the halfway line and create pressure and opportunity for them through set pieces, as a lot of the South African teams do. So yeah, a tough challenge for sure. They play a nice brand of rugby, but they're very good at or very clear on what their DNA is, and they're very good at it.
And as daft a question as it might have sounded a few years ago, South African team to start a European campaign, that's probably maybe the ideal for you, given the Ospreys' record against South African opposition in recent years? 5
out of 7, yeah, I suppose so. We're just pleased to be playing at home, I think, more than anything. I think that we enjoy playing at home. That gives us a little bit of security. We want momentum in this block. To start a European campaign at home, I think, is always a nice thing to do. And hopefully gives you an edge, because everyone likes playing at home, because just for simple reasons, you've got your home supporters there that hopefully come out and support us at the weekend, because all support is greatly welcome. But also you haven't got the travel going the other way, and it does take, I can certainly say from our zebra travel last week, there was, it takes a bit of a toll. Obviously the European format has changed a fair bit over the years, but I guess getting a victory first up is still as important as ever, isn't it? Yeah, I think that irrespective of the format, Europe, and that's the nature of if you like, a pooled cup competition or a lead cup competition. There's few chances to put it right. So the quicker you get some runs on the board, the better. And we did that last year. I know obviously Montpellier is always going to be away. Is always going to be a very difficult challenge, as we know better than anyone. And then you've got, we're playing English Premiership teams and various, big physical teams, which are always difficult. But ultimately, if you can win, in the old format, it was always win your home games and nick one away from home. Now it's not quite the same as that, but it certainly helps. Win your home games, get a bit on the road, and you'll find yourself close.